Good evening, everyone, and welcome to League of Europe. We are here tonight for the Chinese Grand Prix. It is Season 5, Round 6 of the Championship. As I say, we are taking in the Chinese Grand Prix here from the Shanghai International Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream, as always, as your lead commentator. And joining me in the comment box, as always, on a Saturday night, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing brilliant as always, and once again we're back for another race in League of Europe, round number 6. I'm so excited for the Chinese Grand Prix, and hopefully it'll be a bit more exciting than the Monaco Grand Prix last week.
It has to be more exciting than the Monaco Grand Prix last week, and China is one of those tracks where we should see a lot of overtaking, especially down in towards that hairpin at turn 14. Just to remind you what happened last week, Montana took the win from Vaporizer in second, and then in third was Campbell in Monaco. So Montana coming back to his brilliant best in Monaco. What did that do to the standings? Well, M Short still leads the way on 95 points. He's pretty much got a race over D. Daniels, who could afford to lose points here tonight. D. Daniel in second on 67 points and Montana in third on 64. They're a big margin ahead of Verstappen in fourth on 39, Campbell in fifth on 35, then Bolin in sixth on 28, just Asos in seventh on 25, Zhao in eighth on 22, Connor in ninth on 21, and Hardy in 10th on 19. Then we've got a whole host of drivers on 18 points. Lando name change from Vaporizer. Vaporizer, of course, scoring his first points of the season last week. They're all on 18 points. Neo in 14th on 16. Kazizel and Alphatrix tied for 15th on 15. Rocco in 17th on 11. Then Iwan, who scored his first point in his first race last week in Monaco on 18th on 10. Kuhn Bly in 19th on 6, Kuka Games and Schiaparelli 20th and 21st, both on 2 points respectively. Toxic hasn't scored any points so far this season. And M Short leading into tonight, Dan, he's got about a 27 point advantage, I think I make that out, or 28 points even, for M Short to D. Daniel. That's a race, pretty much, that's a win, pretty much, that he's got over the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good position at the moment. Of course, Monaco was not a very strong Grand Prix for him by his standards. It was his lowest point scoring so far this season, only 8 points netted in Monte Carlo. Hopefully China could be a little bit more of a good opportunity. It's the C tracks, you know, they always get me every time. But yeah, hopefully he can have a good race here in China.
Yeah, of course, we have already been to Canada, I think, this season, if I'm not mistaken, or will be going there very shortly indeed. But China is one of those tracks that does really test the drivers out on track. Coming into the constructor standings as well, Racing Point leading on 131, McLaren in second on 111, Renault in third on 74, Alfa Romeo in fourth on 50, Mercedes in fifth on 37, Red Bull in sixth on 36, Williams in seventh on 27, then in eighth is Ferrari on 24, AlphaTauri in ninth on 17, and Haas in 10th on 11 points. Racing Point got a 20 point advantage coming over McLaren coming into tonight, and Racing Point have been one of the most consistent teams of the season. D. Daniel, of course, leading the charge, but Montana last week picking up 37 points for the team in total, with D. Daniel also picking up a very good result. That must set them in good stead for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The team has just looked like it's been more whole together than, of course, their main championship rivals of McLaren at the moment. And realistically, if McLaren want to take the fight to the Racing Point team, they're going to need Neo to get more consistent or higher up positions. He's still been in the points every race this season, but he's in 14th on the standings. Only 16 points contributed to the McLaren's tally of 111. So he's really got to pull his own weight in this one if they do want to fight with the Racing Point team. But yeah, as you say, the more consistent, I'd say.
More consistent, definitely. The countdown has already begun. We are going to get into this straight at 20-7 over here in the United Kingdom. Might be 20-8 wherever you are. And like always, it is Eurovision Super Saturday tonight as well. So I'll be keeping one eye on that later on. In the meantime, I'll be keeping both eyes focused on the action out on track. And we are now going to prepare for qualifying here at the Chinese Grand Prix, the Shanghai International Circuit. First introduced as a track in 2004. Hamilton, Mercedes won the last renewal in 2019 in this. It's a 5.4 kilometre circuit, 3.3 miles to you and me, 56 laps around the track, 28 on a 50% race, and I believe on the right hand side I've just seen somebody leave the session and I don't know who it was. Montana? Yeah, no, Montana's there. We'll see. We'll see who it is in just a second.
I think we already had 19 people in the lobby anyway, so if we load in, there's 18. Someone has left. I'm just trying to scroll through this, see if there's anyone that I did see him before, but now not. But I think we might be okay. I think that might just be I was playing tricks on you.
No, there's definitely 18 drivers. I've counted up on the right-hand side. There's 18 drivers there off to the right-hand side. So hopefully whoever it is will be able to get back into the session. The other two streams, by the way, Division 3 and Division 4, are both live as well if you want to go and watch those. Looking in the Division 1 chat, nobody saying they've disconnected. And looking at the conditions, it is raining out on track, and it is full intermediate conditions here. And looking to the left-hand side, well, I don't know who's probably left the session, to be honest. Your guess is as good as mine. In the chat, I'll have a check to see if anybody has put in who has left. Connor apparently has left. And June is saying, are you ready for the return of Alphatrix's true form? Alphatrix has been off the pace so far this season, and he's got to really try and come alive here tonight. Just ASOS is going to be one of the first cars. In fact, he is the first car coming out on track number 1 on the left-hand side of the graphics. But interesting question there from June, saying about Alphatrix, his true form. Can he reclaim this, especially with being intermediate conditions in qualifying?
You've really got to hope that we do see the return of Alphatrix. He's had, by his standards, a shocking season so far. He's currently in about 16th in the standings, only got a podium to his name in Britain, and the rest of it was no points. And I do believe in Monaco he lagged out pretty early on, and he just never rejoined. So it really has not been the season for Alphatrix, but hopefully this is going to be the turning point, the little switch that just changes it all for him. I'm really praying that that is the situation.
Montana saying as well, let the torture begin. It is quite torturous, especially this track. Obviously, we don't want to go into torture as much on this stream because we are, of course, in China, but especially in these intermediate conditions out on track, it's going to be really, really fascinating, I think, to see how this is all going to unfold, because these intermediates, it's like rain really out on track. There's enough spray being kicked off these cars to dispose of about 25 or 30 litres of fuel, as we see just ASOS having a right moment coming out of turn 13, now on the run down the straight. But we shall see how he's going to get on this lap. In the Williams, of course, the Lithuanian will take us on board with a lap. And he comes down into the hairpin of turn 14 and looking now to try and get a very good lap in. Just ASOS as now comes around the final corner. We've already had a yellow flag out on track. I'm not sure who that might be, but now just ASOS is going to begin us on the lap. And he's took out the bollard, which is I'm very glad to see. For everyone else out on track, it was Connor who left the session, by the way. Just ASOS now running up the hill in towards turn 1. Easily can reach 200 mile an hour in towards turn 1, but look at it. It's a 90-degree all-round right-hander coming through. Takes the wide out line, dips into the apex very nicely indeed. And now just ASOS coming through turn 2, and then coming through turn 3. And now on the run up towards turn 4 and 5 out on track, looking not too bad so far as we now come through turn 5 and the end of the first sector. 26.8 through the first sector is not bad from just ASOS. Now into turn 6 and then through the very, very tricky left-hander of turn 7. It's very difficult if you've got an unstable setup in the dries, let alone in these wet conditions that we've got out on track here in China. 15 minutes still left to go in the session if you are just tuning in. Connor's already left the session, we're down to 18 drivers at the minute, but just ASOS now coming through the tricky double left of turn 9 and then through turn 10 and then towards the middle sector split. Again gets a little bit leery as we now see him fly past our camera's position. 58.1 from just ASOS through the middle sector, and this is not looking like a bad lap so far from just ASOS at all, as he now runs wide coming through turn 11, through turn 12 and now flying through turn 13. Can he try and get the car up to around 200 mile an hour as he runs down this 1 kilometre straight all the way down? DRS of course would be enabled if it was dry. It is raining quite heavily now. I think the rain is getting heavier out on track as opposed to getting lighter, as now just ASOS brakes just after the 100 metre ball, gets the car turned in through turn 14 and now the King through turn 15 and then towards the left-hander of turn 16 out on track. That's pretty much a lap at the Shanghai International Circuit completed with just ASOS. Runs around the final corner, is a valid lap, comes across the line, a 142.4 to start off the evening.
Yeah, next across the line is last week's race winner of Montana. He's about 5 tenths down through a second sector split on Just ASAS, and he's 4 tenths down this time by another car across the line. Zhao Zhao, tipped to be a race winner today. Alphadrix, though, going to the top ahead of Zhao Zhao. Zhao Zhao, of course, being mentioned in Killer's Instincts that he is expecting that Zhao Zhao will take a win. Apparently, he does like China's pad kind of circuit. I do believe he is on the pad, so yeah, hopefully today will benefit him.
Yeah, and Alphadrix, of course, is on the pad as well, 141.9 currently, but look at the top three, separated by just under 300ths of a second. Out on track, the top three currently. Alphadrix there, out on top. There's Zhao Zhao there in second, and Verstappen there in third, and they've got a very comfortable margin, I've got to be honest, over the first couple of cars out on track. Hardy now coming around the final corner. He's looking to try and put in a good lap in. I think he's going to go to the bottom of the timing screens. He does. He goes 14th. In behind him goes Lando, and he goes up into third, and pretty much minutely gets within that gap of Zhao Zhao to Verstappen. The top four now separated by just under 300ths of a second.
Yeah, that was really threading the needle from Lando there. Sweet Crown just crossed the line, of course, making his debut in Season 5 in League of Europe. I do believe he is a driver that is also on the pad. He puts himself into 10th position behind his teammate for tonight, who's in 8th. Of course, Chapelele is the driver that is being replaced by, I believe, South African, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that's the flag that he used to run. I'm hoping that I haven't got that one wrong, though.
Who was that?
Sweet Crown.
Sweet Crown, he's German. Sweet Crown is a German.
He used to run South Africa. Okay, right. I've been robbed it. Mugged. I've been mugged off. I'll have some words with him later.
He's German because I know him from League of Europe Formula 2 back in the day. When I used to commentate, Alphadrix goes quicker, 141.7. On board though with Name Changer, who's fighting the car, coming out through the middle sector now. Really not a competitive lap time from him so far, 59 flat through that middle sector. But as the track evolves, the times will get quicker and quicker as we go through this session. Neo was also on a lap, but he's invalidated out on track, so I would imagine he's going to be preparing up for another lap. Judging by it, he's got 100% of ERS, but we've seen plenty of improvements as we now come across the line. As Alphadrix out on top, Zhao Zhao second, Lando third, Verstappen in fourth. Neo now going to set about for his second lap out on track, and now Dan is going to take you through it.
Alright, so on the run up towards turn number 1, a long-winded right-hander that completely shuts you off once you get towards the second part of the apex. Here it is now. Very slow crawling. He's actually backed off, I believe. He's not using any ERS. Has Neo, and yeah, I think that might be the end of his run. But I do believe that it is better. Oh, he's actually turned up the ERS, so I think he is now pushing. He really did play tricks with me in towards the turn 4 hairpin, getting it 4th gear on exit, trying to get all the traction he can, short shifting up his way through his normally flat out left-hander corner, but of course he's got to go at a snail's pace through here in these wet conditions where it's so difficult to find the grip. And now up towards the end of the second sector, we've got Mercedes off the circuit. That's Hardy out of the session there. He must have lost that on exit of turn number 4, but that is his qualifying over. We'll see for Neo, 58.1. This is going to put him around where Just ASAS is, because that is similar to what his sector was last time by on his first lap. So we'll see the German coming out of this very, very tricky traction zone on towards the straight. We'll see him now rising up the gears into 8th. Normally DRS opens here, but of course none of that in the wet conditions on the run up towards a potential overtaking spot. This hairpin here breaking down at the 100-meter board, taking it wide on entry and then kissing the apex and now open up the steering, using all the short shifting traction he can get, and towards the final corner comes Neo. What can he do? It's looking pretty decent so far on this lap. We'll see him now cross the line, and he goes 9th position just ahead of Just ASAS.
Yeah, really good in terms of the gear changes, I think, as well, out on track. He just pops in behind him into 6th position at 142.1. We saw Kazizl go 5th as well. But Neo going there in 9th, just behind his teammate M Short, the championship leader, of course, coming into tonight. But with the pad track, it is Alphadrix who's leading out on top from Zhao Zhao in 2nd. Lando in 3rd, as I nearly choked. Verstappen in 4th position. Kazizel 50, Daniel 6th, Rocco 7th, M Short, Nathan Neal 9th, and Just Asas in 10th. We're on board with Verstappen, who's invalidated on his lap time. Connor has not yet reached back into the session. Not sure if there's anybody actually out there on a lap. I think Kuhn Bly might be out there on a lap, if I'm not mistaken. He's 6 tenths down through the first sector. Now we'll try and commit into the middle sector. In fact, he's well down on his lap time, so we're not even going to bother running on board with him. Name changer coming through the first sector as well is down. I think, to be honest, that is pretty much everyone sorted in terms of their first laps.
It looks like actually Just Asas is going for a second push lap here. It seems he's only a little bit up on his first time, but the Lithuanian, of course, the first driver to put in a time, we'll see him coming through this sort of S's section in the second sector and towards the second sector split. He loses the car on exit there, and he almost put it into the grass. That is going to be him backing off on that lap, and now he's 5 tenths down, so yeah, he's not going to find any improvement in that final sector. It was looking quite promising, as I believe that Ewan just jumped up into 10th.
Yeah, Ewan has gone 10th indeed. You can see how many lap times these guys have got to the left-hand side. You've only got Toxic, who's out there on 1 lap. I think he's going there through the first sector. He's 2 tenths up, coming out through the middle sector. So Toxic will be hoping to try and score some good points here tonight. And hopefully he'll score a good result in qualifying. He's 8 tenths up, coming through the middle sector. He's absolutely flying on this lap at this moment in time. The Brit, of course, from Croydon, if I'm not mistaken. Toxic now coming through the final couple of corners, through turn 13, and now on this 1 kilometre straight down in towards turn 14, which will be the right-hander at the end of this straight. And Toxic will be hoping for a really good result. He now would have opened the DRS, but still reaches 200 mile an hour in these wet conditions on the run down, and he's going to break dead on the 100 metre board, and now tries to get the car turned in here out on track. Toxic will be hoping to try and get up towards Montana. Just Asas sort of area. Montana is also out there on a lap, starting on a lap, I should say. Connor, I believe, has rejoined. Toxic then around the final corner. Going to improve big time here. Toxic goes 9th. Good lap there by Toxic. Finds 9 tenths of a second. He could have found a little bit more, I think, in that final sector as well. But Toxic goes 9th ahead of Neo and just and beyond the championship leader of M Short.
Yeah, it seems like as the session goes on, a bit of a dry line forms while the tyres are being kind of displacing all the water. So we'll see these guys running as many laps as they can on the fuel load that they're on, just so they can really maximise all of the kind of grip that they have available to them, which isn't much in the wet conditions. We've got Ewan, I believe, on a back-to-back lap, just crossing the line here. We'll see him cross it, and it's only 9th position for him. Jumps ahead up top 6, so we can see the times are improving as the session goes along. And actually, Just Asas finally back on another lap, and he is now 3 tenths up through the second sector, so he's looking really strong on this one. Is the Lithuanian. He didn't make the mistake through a second sector like he did the previous time we were on board with him. Towards turn 14, the hairpin, as always, a Ferrari off the circuit. That might be just him getting out of the way, but we won't go on board with him because Just Asas through the final sector. He's looking pretty decent on this one. 3 tenths up. This could put him maybe in the reaches of the top 5. We'll see him crossing the line here and bang on 5th position. And that is 1,000th into the 1 minute 41s.
Montana's going to look to improve the out on track as well. He runs around the final corner. Could he go top? I don't think he will, but he puts himself up into 5th position. How's he managed to get into a gap as Alphatrix goes quicker? 141.4 from Alphatrix out on track. Jow Jow is out there just starting up on a lap. Lando was out there as well. 2 tenths up coming through the middle sector, now through the final sector, in fact, coming through turn 13 as Alphatrix currently leads the way in qualifying. It's 4 tenths of a second pretty much, just over on Jow Jow with 5 minutes to go in the session. These lap times will get quicker and quicker as the session progresses through. I think Verstappen has just started up on a lap as well. Campbell is about to start up on a lap just in front of Lando, but now Lando coming through the right-hander at turn 14. Now at the kink of 15, and I don't think he's going to try and improve possibly on this lap time. Lando now coming through the final corner's got to get good commitment out of the car, and now the Mercedes runs to the line, and he does improve up to 3rd. Good lap time there by Lando, but look at how close. Rocco has gone 2nd, by the way, as well. Lando 3rd, all the way down to Just Asas. She could throw a blanket over most of these guys.
About that. Close together, packed like sardines at this point, but I'd expect them to all try and improve on those laps as best they can, as they're all just putting in as much fuel really as possible, because the intermediate tyres are slightly better when they have got a little bit of wear on them. I believe through the final sector now. Just at the hairpin is Zhao Zhao, and he's on a pretty strong improvement so far. Could see him up into onto the front row of the grid. We'll see him coming through the final corner now. More yellow flags. He's trolled us. He's done us there. I believe Montana's actually in the final sector. He's also coming into the pit lane, right? So I'm not going to bother with it anymore. I think Connor's finally putting in a lap though.
Yeah, Connor is finally putting him lap. We caught him through the first sector, 26.6. Do that first sector from Connor. Now through the middle sector, having to fight the car. And that's surely, I thought it was going to be an invalidation from Connor. This is actually not a bad lap, considering he made a mistake there. 58.2 through the middle sector is there, or thereabouts in terms of the first sector times out on track. But Alphatrix currently out on top. Rocco second, Lando in third. We should be seeing improvements as well. I believe Lando is actually out there on a lap, if I'm not mistaken. So let's run on board with him as he approaches turn 14 in this hairpin. Doom saying watch the Lord of the Roms trilogy twice a day. I think there's been a spelling error there. Doom, Lord of the Rings, I think that's meant to say. Neo goes second in a 141.6, and Lando, yeah, I'm not going to go on board with anybody now because he has just trolled us coming into the pit lane as well. Absolutely unbelievable. 3 minutes to go left in the session. Connor then ran in the final corner out on track. Is he going to put it up towards the front end of the field? Goes 11th, 42 point more, not a bad lap time there from Connor. Alphatrix all the way down to Toxic, covered by less than a second in qualifying. Given that it's intermediate conditions, it could be the case of, if this rain is lightning, which I think it might be out on track, will the last driver coming across the line get pole position?
Yeah, well, that's really what I love about wet qualifying sections, just the uncertainty, and realistically no one is going to be in a solid position because anyone can improve at any moment. It mixes the grid around quite nicely, you know, like M Short all the way down in 12th at the moment there, and if he's got pace in the race, you know what, he can have some brilliant fights later on come race time. But we've still got more drivers trying to push on a run. I just saw something like this. Kazizel through the final sector, he's just a little bit up on his time, not too much, but if he does see a decent improvement, it'll put him right up the order because of how close these drivers are together. This really is going to be the kind of last attempts these drivers are going to start to be preparing for. Seeing some drivers on their outlaps for Kazizel for now. He's going to try and cross the line here to get a little bit of oversteer on the exit to come up to the line. That might have costed him ever so slightly. He goes 7th position.
Verstappen goes second, 4,000ths of a second off Alphatrix. Really good lap there by the Dutchman out on track. Everyone else out on outlaps currently. Campbell is coming through the final sector. I think he's preparing up for a lap as opposed to actually finishing one. And he is now going to prepare for a lap out on track. Kumbly is on a lap time, down in 18th position, on 142.6. Currently abide by his name. Rain looks like it's getting slightly heavier, possibly out on track as we approach the end of this session. Alphatrix leading. E1's going to get out of the way to the left-hand side, but Kumbly now running towards the final couple of corners. I think Connor is out there on the lap time, I think, as well. He just came across the line, but Kumbly now comes across the line and improves up to 12th. Good improvement there from Kumbly. He has got another lap to try and get another one in. Daniel now across the line, he goes 8th. Good lap time, and Kazizel improving in the middle sector. Neo coming through the middle sector, and Verstappen also coming through the middle sector. And is Verstappen improving? Yes, he's purple through the middle sector. Verstappen has got Kazizel just in front of him. Kazizel's on the lap time as well. This is really going to benefit Verstappen possibly. Now coming through the hairpin at turn 13, and now towards the hairpin at turn 14 at the end of this straight. The rain is getting heavier out on track. Half a minute in fact to go. Alphatrix on top, Verstappen in second, but for how long is that going to be for? As Verstappen now comes in towards turn 14, got Kazizel just in front of him out on track. As now we're going to try and see the Dutchman improve. It could be a very rare pole position for Verstappen, but expect the times to drop. Zhao one lap time as well as long with Alphatrix for Verstappen. Right in the final corner. This is a really good lap from Verstappen. Comes across the line and he goes pole for now at least, as Alphatrix is 300s down through the first sector. Neo is responding though in behind. Verstappen out on top, Alphatrix in second, Neo in third, and now Neo ran in the final corner. The specialist in the wet, even pre-season, comes across the line. He does improve, but he doesn't improve his position. Rocco, 600 up through the first sector. Lando was a 10th up purple through the first sector. Zhao not improving so far. Daniel on a lap time, Montana on a lap time as well. Trying to see who's furthest on. Connor is furthest on, as he now comes around the final corner. We've got a Red Bull, Ferrari in fact, just in behind him out on track. As now Connor comes to the line, and he goes 8th. Good lap time from Connor. Kumblai now running the final corner, comes across the line, and he doesn't improve in the end. Improvement further down. E1, I think, improves slightly down on his lap time. In fact, Toxic is on a lap time. Going to be one of the next up as Daniel improved up to 8th.
Alphatrix in the final sector at the moment. He's just coming through the final corner here. He's quite strong on this lap as well. He could be on for a pole position here. And a 41.1 smashes it out of the water. That is going to be pole position, surely.
Or is it? Rocco was up on his time, but I don't think he's going to improve. There's a spinner through the final corner. I think that might have been name changer at the final corner, just spinning. Rocco now towards the line. Jaja goes second, within 300ths of Alphatrix. Good lap time from him. Is Rocco going to try and respond? Comes across the line, and he goes 4th. Good lap time by Rocco. Lando on a lap time. 5/10ths up, Lando. Coming through the final sector. He's got name changer to the left-hand side. Lando could steal it. Oh, he goes close, but it's 3rd position. A 141.3. Verstappen is down on lap time. I think Kazizel is down on lap time as well. Sweet Crown round in the final corner. Can the German respond? He doesn't. 600ths down in his lap time. That is the end of qualifying. Then an Alphatrix is back to his best in qualifying. Jiao Jiao in 2nd, Lando in 3rd, and you can really see that the pad specialists are coming into play and the intermediate specialists are coming into play as well.
Yeah, well, this is the Alphatrix that we know and love in the pad. On the pad in China. It's just bread and butter. It's beautiful to see Alphatrix finally finding some form, and hopefully this lasts throughout the season. I believe the next couple of races could also be kind of gauged a little bit towards the pad. I'm not too sure really what the favouring is on this game. I remember in 2019 it was pretty much pad was the only one on the team. What's that? Who's that AlphaTauri? Did you see that?
That was a Williams. Crashed halfway down the straight there.
Who's that?
Very, very strange indeed. It might have been just ASAS possibly, but I don't know. Alphatrix though out on top, 200ths of a second separating him and Jiao Jiao. Lando in 3rd with Verstappen in 4th. Rocco 5th, Neo in 6th, just ASAS 7th. M-Short Championship leader in 8th, has out-qualified D Daniel crucially, because this is in 9th, D Daniel in 10th. Montana also in 11th, so M-Short's qualified ahead of his 2 nearest championship rivals. Connor 12th, Toxic 13th, Kumblai in 14th, under 8/10ths per second, separating the top 13. Kumblai 14, Campbell 15, Sweet Crown in 16, got very close in fact. E1 and then Name Changer, and then Hardy, who crashed out the session very early on. What could have he done in the session if he'd tried to stay in? But 1.9 seconds separating the whole field out on track. And I think the top 6, as Kuka Games has just said, maybe all pad drivers as well. Hardy has been asked if it's going to be running in the race. No. Dry race in dry in the race.
Yeah, it's that is probably the perfect combination of wet qualifying and a nice sunny race. Oh, this is beautiful to see.
Sunny?
It means much more action down the streets and stuff with yours.
It does look sunny on my screen, but it looks a bit smoggy, is what I'm going to say.
Smoggy?
Yeah, can you see the smog in the background? China is famed for its smog. If you've ever been to Beijing or anywhere like that, China is famed for the smog, and it looks quite smoggy out on track as opposed to sunny.
That's just the realism of Codemasters games. Beautiful stuff from them, that they can provide us with a real simulation of what the circuit would be like.
I don't know if you could see it, but just above in the middle of your screen, I'm not sure if anybody could see this, but it looks like there's a helmet floating in the air. Or is that an umbrella? I don't know. There's something there.
In whereabouts?
Right in the middle. Oh, it's just gone off now. It'll go off. It's in the middle of my screen. It looks like there was a helmet, like, floating in the middle of the air. So somebody's going to be a no-headed driver, I think, out on track in terms of sim racing. But there we are. Alphatrix are now on top. Jiao Jiao second, Lando in 3rd. And the crucial thing is, from qualifying, everyone can start on a free compound tyre. And looking at it, more drivers have gone for the hard compound tyres to the medium compound tyres. Top 3 on mediums, Alphatrix, Jiao Jiao, Lando, along with Rocco, Neo, Montana, Toxic, and Sweet Crown. All the rest of the field on a set of hard compounded tyres as the sun now begins to burst through here in China. Alphatrix, Jiao Jiao, Lando, top 3 on a set of medium compounded tyres. They're going to be quick early on, but this track is very, very high in time to tyre deg.
Yeah, and that is why we are not seeing any of the soft tyres at all. That is another perk of the wet weather conditions, of course. There is no No alternate strategy really, because everyone's on a level playing field here. So it really is all about the positioning qualifying in the wet. So yeah, they've got to translate that over to the race. Whether some of these guys were running wet setups to get a good position in qualifying, that remains to be seen. I wouldn't expect anyone in Division 1 to make that mistake, because of course it'll put them at severe disadvantage come race time. But you can see how much the top two are actually breaking away from the rest of the field. Who needs tyre temps?
Who needs side attempts? They really want to get on with things, I think, is what they're trying to show as well. Alphatrix and Jow Jow. I'm glad somebody, by the way, has put up Stephen Trotner in the comment section. Did someone say smog? If anybody tried to make a joke about me being from Middlesbrough, i.e. Elohim Mark, old school, then I would have come at you in the comment section. But there we are. Nobody has made that joke. I'm very, very happy. Don't make it now that I've said it. But anyways, drivers are now joining onto the grid. At least the first two are joining onto the grid. Everyone is like just dawdling round here in Division 1 as they now come through the final couple of corners. We've got drivers coming through the hairpin as well. Dan, I will come across to you. What's your expectation for the race and who's your top three?
My top three is, I'm going to say that Alphatrix finally can translate a good qualifying into the win today. I'll say that Verstappen will get second, and I think a nice charge for the field for Montana will go within in third.
Interesting. I'm gonna go Alphatrix for the win. I'm gonna go M Short for second. I'm gonna go Connor for third. I think Connor's got a good strategy in him down there in 12th position. As long as his internet holds up, it should be fine. As now we get prepared for 5 red lights here in the race for round 6 of the championship here in League of Europe. It's season 5, and it's 5 red lights, and it's lights, and away we go. Very shocking start by Verstappen on the side of hard, but Alphatrix is away and has got the lead running in towards turn 1. Defence to the inside line. Jaj trying to go around the outside. Lando as well, on the inside line. Everyone is clean through. Just Ace has to go and make an outside move on Neo coming through turn 2. There's the pinch point coming through turn 3. Montana's trying to make a move past Toxic, I think that is as well. I'm sure dropping down the field. The Daniel is ahead of him, and now Montana is going to go side by side. Just Ace in the meantime side by side with Neo for 6th and 7th position. Diving round the outside as Montana on a set of mediums. He's round the outside, and I'm sure that is brilliant stuff by Montana. He's on a fresh set of mediums, of course, but he's through, and he's now right on the back of his teammate. That was bold, brilliant move from Montana around the outside line. Now he's going to try it at his teammate coming through the S section. This will be brilliant for Montana if he can pull it off, and he does. Down on the inside line. Toxic fighting with him, and short on the background as well. Brilliant, brilliant stuff by the defending champion. Alphatrix still leads. Jaj second, Lando in third as we come through the first 3/4 of the lap.
Yeah, really brilliant stuff from Montana already in this one, making up about 3 positions from the start. He started in 11th position, but Alphatrix with a dream start. He's got a nice distance between himself and Jow Jow behind him. I don't know if this is the case for you, but I've not got any intervals whatsoever on my screen. Here's Montana though. He's onto the back of Just Ace, trying to add another one to his kill list, and that already puts him up into 7th position, up the inside here. Toxic. And he's already onto the back of Neo.
Yeah, Toxic through as well, just in the meantime on D. Daniel, just in behind him. Short, dropping down another position, sorry, Kazizel, I should say, dropping down another position out on track. But now, we see a bit of a graphic switch to the left-hand side on my end, certainly. It's Alphatrix who does lead out on track from Jaj second, Lando in third at the end of lap 1. Everyone is clean through lap 1. There's fighting further down the field. I think that's Kumblai going side by side, possibly with a car. That's Name Changer, in fact, going side by side with Ewan. Connor is through on Sweet Crown, trying to get the move done there. But Ewan now on the back. Hardy's had a really poor start off the back. Of course, he's on a set of hard compound of tyres, as now the graphics begin to glitch again to the left-hand side. Name Changer under pressure from Ewan. Ewan now to the left-hand side, now on the right-hand side as we look. Hardy right on the back of this as well. And there is the Williams, and now it's 3 wide in front, actually. Kazizel, Sweet Crown, and Connor are going 3 wide coming out of turn 6. And Connor is through. Oh. He's lagging all over the place, and I think Kazizel has spun. Kazizel has spun. He's off, and he's out the race, but that's off track. I don't think we're going to see a safety car or anything for that. I could be wrong. Alphatrix are leading by what says it's 4/10 per second. That looks more than 4/10 per second out on track. It looks to me, because this was off track, according to that, as Alphatrix has actually ran out of his ERS on this lap, which is crucial. Jow Jow hasn't, and Alphatrix really trying to push for this race win out on track. Jow second, Lando in third, but Kazizel, no safety car, no VSC. That was purely off track, and it was purely because he got caught on the curb.
Toxic trying to go up the inside of Just Asas here. Just Asas dropping down the order quite harshly. He's lost the position to Montana at the same point that Toxic managed to slip through. Of course, not at the best start to the season, but to begin lap number 3, this is where things may start to change because, of course, DRS has now been enabled here, and Zhao Zhao can use this to try and attack Alphatrix just that little bit more down the straightaways. Of course, 2 DRS straights on this circuit, one on the run up towards turn 1 and the other on the run up towards turn 14. Turn 14 we have to watch out for, of course, because that is going to be a key place for overtakes. 6 cents is the gap between the pair of them at the moment, so Lando could also see himself being dragged along maybe onto the back of Zhao Zhao, getting double slipstream, and he could try and fight for second position. Could allow for Alphatrix to slip away, but so far, aside from Kazizel's incident, everyone's got away pretty cleanly in this one.
Yeah, which is really good to see. Alphatrix, of course, leading by 7.5 tenths of a second, coming through turn 9 and then through turn 10. Got Zhao Zhao trying to chase him down. Zhao Zhao just looks like he's dropping off the pace slightly out on track, and now Zhao Zhao running down in towards turn 11 and 12 gains back that advantage that he lost. Nobody is close enough for any overtakes further down the field, and I don't think we'll probably see any overtakes running down the straight. However, this commentator has been wrong before. Alphatrix leads by 7.5 tenths of a second, coming to that DRS detection point now. That is the time where Zhao Zhao begins to open up the taps. Name Changer trying to get onto the back of Kuhn Bly. This is for 16th position out on track. Kuhn Bly looks like he's got the legs to try and fend off Name Changer, and Name Changer, I don't think, is going to lunge for this down the inside on the 2 Ferraris. Oh my god, that's very late on the brakes from Name Changer. Goodness me. Sweet Crown as well, right on the back of Connor. Connor lagging slightly coming through the corners. It looks like it's fixed itself now. Alphatrix still leading, Zhao Zhao in second, but because everyone's in a DRS train, simply nobody can get through.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a drawback with the DRS. Of course, you can get caught in some trains. I'm looking at the Discord chat right now, and Kazizel doesn't seem happy. He says, well, I can't repeat that word on stream, but he says, why do I even show up anymore? Really unfortunate that he's DNF'd on lap 1, and it's not really been his fault at all. He was caught in a bad position at the wrong time, and unfortunately ended up him coming up with a short stick. But it seems like through a second sector, just going off course there, it looks like Lando is a lot quicker than Zhao Zhao, and Zhao Zhao losing track of Alphatrix. If Lando can keep up the pace in behind Zhao Zhao, then these two can have a right old scrap for second position on circuit. I'm just looking to see who's lost DRS. Dean Daniel seems like the only driver who has potentially lost DRS with the top 9, but he is just sneaking in there, trying to get DRS off of Just Asas.
Yeah, Kazizel coming into the chat there as well. Here comes Lando on the back of Zhao Zhao though for second. Is he going to try and get the move done? I don't think he's going to be close enough. Alphatrix still leading from Zhao Zhao in second. Lando in third. Nobody close enough from moving the top 3. But now we're beginning to see gaps begin to form further down the field. You mentioned D. Daniel. He's under pressure from M. Short coming into the braking zone, but not close enough to the back. The championship leader on his nearest championship rival, of course, out on track. And Montana is outscoring these guys for chips currently. Spacking chips, possibly? Who knows? I'm Short on the back of D. Daniel. That's terrible. That is really terrible. Lenny is going to have me for that one. Lando's on the back of Zhao Zhao for second position. Alphatrix leading Zhao Zhao in second, Lando in third. And Lando really hasn't had the look in league racing in the last couple of weeks as what he had earlier on in the season. But now he's on the back of Zhao Zhao. Looks to me Alphatrix and Lando probably got stronger setups coming through the middle sector. And this is going to be now proven because I can see a little bit of wear on that rear right tyre for Zhao Zhao. And that's the tyre that will probably take the most amount of hit around this track.
Absolutely, of course, high deck circuit. We'll expect these guys to come in pretty soon into the pit lane. Of course, lap number 5, you'd expect all the medium runners to stay out for just that little bit longer, but just for the time being now. But yeah, certainly the tyres will go off pretty strong, and on that right rear where a lot of these corners on left hand, I don't know all the exact turns and stuff, but yeah, do take a lot of heat, those rears, and it will pay the price if he's not careful with them. But coming down the straighter, we'll see the top 3 a little bit of a breakaway train at the moment. Lando only 3 tenths back from Zhao Zhao last time back. He was pushing Zhao Zhao around the corner. They made contact. I don't think there was any damage to Lando's wing. He's certainly not dropped off the pace. But now with the DRS, Zhao Zhao really is being able to really put the pressure onto Alphatrix, and these guys are going to have a brilliant fight in the next couple of months.
Yeah, Alphatrix just looks like he's coming back to Jojo. Of course, that DRS. 2 DRS detection points, of course, out on track. 1 down the start-finish straight, 1 down the back straight, down in towards turn 14. And you can see that indicated on the map with the greens, the DRS detection point, of course. 2 different ones. 1 through turn 16 and then 1 through turn 12. On the exit of turn 12, that's where the DRS detection point is for the back straight. But Alphatrix leading onto lap 6 out of 28 here. Jojo in second, Lando in third. Rocco in fourth. Top 3 getting away from Rocco, I've got to say. 1.3 seconds over. Verstappen in 5th, Neo in 6th, Montana 7th, Toxic in 8th. And Montana, after making that early ground on the back of Neo, but he hasn't made any more ground out on track. He got a sensational start, of course, going around the outside, coming through turn 6, and then around the outside of his own teammate, coming through turn 7, and then into turn 8, 9, and then 10. Montana, though, on the back of Neo, he's got Toxic chasing him down as well. D. Daniel really dropping on that set of hard compounded tyres, though, down in 10th.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he might have a slight bit of wing damage. Nothing visual on that Racing Point car, so he might have just made some mistakes and he's lost a whole bunch of time, but really unfortunate if that is the case. One of the drivers who's in 5th position at the moment, he's on a set of hards, is Verstappen. He's in amongst the top runners on the mediums. And
Shot on the back of D. Daniel, down the inside line he goes. Can he get the move done? Can he get the car stopped? D. Daniel's much later on the brakes, so tries to hang it all the way around the outside. He is forced off the track, and M. Short had the right away in the position, to be honest, and now Campbell tries to go around the outside line of D. Daniel, but these two fight. M. Short through, and he's into 10th position. D. Daniel hung out to dry on the outside. He wouldn't be happy with that, but to be fair, it's legal, and you can force a driver off like that, especially through an off-camber corner of turn 14.
Yeah, I'd say that was a fair move coming out from M. Short there. So he's up into 10th position. D. Daniel losing some ground to Campbell. Campbell wasn't able to take advantage coming into the first corner, of course. D. Daniel getting the DRS on M. Short in front of him. But yeah, really struggling in this race is D. Daniel. He could almost drop out of the points here because he's got Connor, Sweetground, and of course Campbell right on his rear. And coming up through the second sector now, he'll be feeling those tyres if they're not in good nick.
Rocco getting caught on the grass there, coming through turn 8 on the right-hander. Now through turn 9 and 10. It looks to me it looks to me at the minute, top 3 have got pace over Rocco, but is it the case that the hards are beginning to come into play this early in the race on a set of mediums compared to Rocco just in front?
I'd expect so. With the degradation around the circuit, those medium tyres aren't going to last as long as you might think, and Verstappen really can take advantage of this on the hard compounded tyres. You can see how he's gaining on the straight. He's using the last of his ERS through the speed trap as we speak. He can't get close enough to Rocco. He certainly maybe could have made the lunge, but he doesn't want to take too much out of the tyres, I suppose, and he wants to go as long as he can in this race, but he is on the charge at the moment behind Rocco, who's got a train.
Jesus, C1 trying to dive it down the inside of Name Changer, coming in towards turn 14, but Name Changer hanging on for 16th position. Verstappen running side by side pretty much with Rocco coming through turn 1, but he sticks in behind him for now. Alphatrix still out in front, JJ second, Lando in third.
Yeah, they're kind of having a quiet race at the front at the moment. Alphatrix with 70% ERS on board, so yeah, he's doing really well for himself. It seems like behind them, Rocco and Verstappen have taken a lot out of their battery, but Neo probably in the best position out of this upper echelon of the points, I'd say, in terms of ERS. Of course, he's got 60% to utilise when and where he wants. Of course, when you get below 10%, that's when the ERS power is actually halved. So you want to save as much of it as you can, really, for the crucial moments. And those crucial moments have not come up for the German driver, so he's just got to stick behind Verstappen and Rocco. Of course, 3 rival teams in League of Europe, NSX, QVR and XL, the age-old battle, of course, and I think the QVR man might try and take advantage of the NSX driver because he's a lot closer coming down the straightaway, and he's just hanging in his slipstream, using up the DRS. He's got no battery left to utilise, but now coming down the straight with the overspeed in towards the braking zone. That is an easy move for Verstappen. He made it look easy, but Rocco's fighting him back. It looks like Verstappen might have outbroke himself there, and Rocco's trying to now hang it around the outside. This would be a ballsy move if he can make it work, but he hasn't, unfortunately. He's now got DRS back on Verstappen, and he can try and make the move in towards turn number 1. You can see he's gaining on. He's going to have to go to the outside line. They come close to contact, the 2 drivers, but here it is around the outside. Can Rocco make this one one stick on Verstappen, or is he going to have the move made? It looks like Verstappen has finally got through on Rocco, but what a valiant effort, really, from Rocco to try and defend that position.
Yeah, those tyres are beginning to ebb away though for Rocco. Verstappen now through and he's up into 4th position. Now he's got Neo right on the back of him, and Rocco actually just outbrakes himself slightly going in towards turn 6 there. It's AlphaTrix still out on top, Zhao Zhao in 2nd, Lando in 3rd as we approach slowly the halfway stage out on track. Lap 9 out of 28 if you are just tuning in. AlphaTrix leading, Zhao Zhao 2nd, Lando in 3rd. They've pulled 3.4 seconds over the rest of the field at this stage, and it could be quite crucial because they've got that buffer now. Is it going to be a buffer later on when the first pit stops are made out on track? Of course, a one-stop strategy will be made. So Montana get very, very wide there coming out of turn 10, and he got caught on the outside curb and nearly spun the car around. But Toxic is on the back of him, and he'll be looking to try and get through this age-old rivalry from the FRL days when I covered these two guys having a battle. They weren't the fairest of drivers, if I've got to be honest, especially the man we're on board with, but Toxic on the back of Montana, trying to close him down. Montana looks like he's got the run for now, and Montana holds on for 7th position. Nothing really, though, happening up and down the field at this moment in time. My voice, by the way, is already going, so goodness me, might have to get a reserve commentator in very soon if my voice cannot last up. But AlphaTrix leads us now. Pit stops are made. Neo, Montana, Toxic in.
Yeah, they're all coming into the block for their one and only pit stop onto the hard compound of tyres. They wouldn't have been able to take the softs this long into the race. That's the advantage of being able to start on what tyre you want. You get more freedom with the structure, and these guys are going to try for an undercut. You'd expect them to jump ahead of Verstappen and Rocco at the moment, who are on worn tyres. Verstappen in a pretty in a good position in comparison to Rocco, 9 laps on those tyres, and he seemingly is struggling quite a bit more than his rivals. So yeah, the top 3 also will lose a little bit of time to the drivers who have just pitted for the fresh set of hard compounded tyres, but I don't think it'd be enough for them to jump them. But yeah, first 3 pit stops coming out. We'd expect to see some more from the medium runners as this lap goes on.
Yeah, AlphaTrix leading 6.5 tenths of a second, running down in towards turn 11 once again for the 10th time of this tour around the Shanghai International Circuit. 5.4 kilometres length are being ticked away each lap that we go over on these 28 laps that these drivers have got in front of them. AlphaTrix leading, Zhao Zhao in 2nd. Lando looks as close as he ever has been, to be honest, out on track. But he's not going to use up any overtake mode. He need not to use up any overtake mode because I don't think he's going to be close enough anyways. He is very late on the brake, so nearly contacts the back of Zhao Zhao running into the braking zone. He probably was thinking at that point, crap, I'm nearly going into the back of the driver in front. In fact, he comes into the pit lane. He goes into 3rd position, into the pit lane, and now he is going to be the one that is going to try and undercut AlphaTrix and Zhao Zhao.
Yeah, that'll be a really crucial move for him. He's at the beginning of the pit lane, and that he could maybe get held up by Rocco. I'm praying that he manages to get out on time, and he has been held in the pits.
He hasn't.
Oh wait, no, he hasn't. He's glitched out of the pits for me. That was so weird. He literally just glitched right in front of him.
He's got clear air.
Yeah, he's got clear air in front of him. He's going to be in a really great position. And he's also got his teammate just in front of him, who I doubt can do much from being 6.3 seconds ahead. It looks like Neo's managed to get past Rocco, as Rocco made a mistake there.
No, Rocco's just came into the pit lane. So Rocco's just came into the pit lane, and they were side by side coming out the pit lane. That's why I went all for, and Neil gets ahead of Rocco, which is quite crucial. The undercut around here is quite potent here in China, and now Montana right on the back of Rocco. And it seems to me we're getting another age-old rivalry. Rocco and Montana out on track. These guys I also covered back in the FRL days, and Rocco in 16th position on the back of Neo, 4 tenths of a second off him at this stage of the race. But you would imagine that AlphaTrix and Zhao Zhao, as they come now down the straight for the 11th time, AlphaTrix will be hoping and to probably try and respond. I think that's the most crucial thing to do at this point. Respond to the driver that's just put in, Lando, who's got clear air and is closing in on his teammate Hardy.
And he's just put in the fastest sector 2 that he's done in this race, so he is on fire
Zhao Zhao
on this fresh set of hard. AlphaTrix staying out in this one, Zhao Zhao coming into the block, and AlphaTrix has just put in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's fine on those tyres, it seems.
He has, yeah, he is fine on those tyres for now. Jaja, though, is into the pit lane. Lando is just coming out of turn 14. So by the time that Jaja gets into his pit box and gets out of his pit box, with Sweet Crown also pitting in, is Lando going to be side by side with the Alfa Romeo coming out the pit lane? This is going to be mightily, mightily close. I think Lando is going to manage it. He is. He's through, round the outside line with the overspeed. Jaja out the pit lane behind him, and that's about 6/10 of a second, I would say, coming out the pit lane. Lando in 12th, crucially ahead of Jaja. But what does this do for Lando now in the whole scheme of things? Alphatrix at this moment in time, remember this gap, 22.2 seconds. I'm sure a pit stop around here is 22 seconds, so he's on the cusp.
I've got an information little spreadsheet here that I can just refer to as the pit stop time. It is 23 seconds you lose in the pit lane, and that is just going to be a gap that will be shrinking as the lap goes on. Of course, Alphatrix through the final sector at the moment. He's still improving on his times, but I doubt that is really going to concern the likes of Lando, who could be leading for the first time in his Division 1 career. He could be leading a Grand Prix. It's not going to be easy. Alphatrix is going to put up a fight, but we'll see him most likely box this lap. I wouldn't expect him to try and maintain these medium tyres any longer. We'll see if he brakes coming to this corner or if he goes straight on. There it is, the race leader into the pit lane on lap number 12. He's taking his time very long, and he pushed the grass on entry, didn't he, there?
Yeah, he was so close actually to hitting the wall on the angle coming in. Pit window was actually now open for Alphatrix out on track, and now with Verstappen coming in behind him, he responds to go into a set of medium compactor tyres. 16 laps is definitely possible, I think, on that set of medium compactor tyres. Alphatrix didn't get held up there, but there is Lando coming across the start-finish line now. He bangs in the fastest lap of the race, and now Alphatrix is right to the side of him. Lando's in the net race to the leader now. Jaja is along the outside of him as well. So Alphatrix with that two lap more out on the tyres. Alphatrix now down in a net third position. Crucially though, Verstappen has came out just right in behind Neo in the battle for a net fourth.
Yeah, and he's on a fresh set of medium tyres. You'd expect him to be much quicker through the corners. He's actually using his overtake right here, right now, to try and go around the outside at turn number 4. Is he going to try and get him? That is an amazing move from Verstappen there. He saw the opportunity. He's already held up by the hard runners. He just wanted to go for it. That is smart thinking, I'd say, from Verstappen.
It is indeed. 5.3 seconds was quite difficult to gain, especially around a track like this at the Shanghai International Circuit. Jasasas leading from him short in second, Campbell third, Daniel in fourth, Connor in fifth, Ewan in sixth. If anybody can get those tyres, by the way, to the end of this race, it will be Verstappen on that set of medium compactor tyres. Bangs in the fastest middle sector as well, so be hoping to try and gain. Speaking of gaining, Daniel on the back of Campbell, trying to close up fourth position at this stage. Jiao as well, right on the back of Lando. We're going to see a battle between these two running down, and look at Jiao's overspeed. Now switches to the outside line. Lando defends to the inside. Jiao trying to go side by side with him. Lando forces him out wide, and there's nearly contact between them both. And now this is bringing Alphatrix back into play. Jiao nearly had a spin, got caught on the wheel, I think, of Lando, which spun him around slightly. Lando, though, hangs on, and there could have been all sorts of carnage there.
Really doesn't want to give up this position. He's thinking, you know what, this is my first time leading the race. I want to enjoy it while it lasts. Of course, he's in 5th position at the moment, but that is a net P1 for Lando, and well, the young British driver. He's got a bright future in league racing, as he's shown so far in this season. He's been quite strong, I'd say, coming up from Division 2 last season to now being in Division 1 and fighting with the likes of Jiao and a Season 3 champion of Alphatrix. That is quite the feat at his young age, so you know what, he's going to enjoy it as much as he can here.
He's not as young as you expect, you know, Lando. Honestly.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's not 60 like somebody in AOR is. But there we are.
I didn't say he was old.
He's teenagers. He's around the same age as you, I think. So Lando currently in the net lead of this race. I'm going to move on quickly. Lando currently in the net lead of this race. Jiao in second, and Alphatrix in third. The 5th, 6th and 7th though out on track currently. Verstappen eating into that advantage. He's only been out on those tyres 2 laps, but look at the gap. It was 5.3 at the pit lane. It's now 3.8.
Interesting stuff from Verstappen, really showing his pace. I was just trying to see if I could actually find Lando's age, but I'm sure he's younger than me by quite some way, like a couple of years. But
here's Campbell.
I think enough about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Campbell on the inside line of Sweetcrown gets the move done. He's on a fresh set of mediums as well, so be hoping to try and get those sides to the end of the race. Just ASAS is in, D Daniel in as well. Verstappen puts in the fastest lap of the race at 132.6. Campbell now trying to chase down M Short, and M Short is one that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. He's going to be rejoining behind this Racing Point coming out the pit lane, which is, this Williams coming out the pit lane, in fact, which is just ASAS. So he is down in 12th position, could be 10th position once Connor and Ewan comes into the pit lane. It could even be 9th position if he tries to get just ASAS. But Connor leading out on track, Ewan in second, Lando in third. Alphatrix is just sitting in behind at this stage, 51% worth of ERS, Jaja with 57 and Lando with 32. Lando, I think, out of the three has got to be more careful in terms of ERS consumption because he's got about 20% less than the guys behind him.
Yeah, luckily for him, he has got Ewan just in front of him, who we will expect to be coming to the pit lane very, very soon. But that could be a little bit of slipstream to help him down the straightaway and maybe not use up as much ERS as him. He's got a big slide on the traction. Hopefully he doesn't see more issues with that come the end of the Grand Prix. But here is Zhao Zhao onto the back of him. Lando already going defensive to the inside line before Zhao Zhao really has the opportunity to come at him. 19% on his ERS, he's using up too much, is Lando here, and it really will cost him if he uses it too much, and Zhao Zhao is able to keep up with him because he'll be right on his rear and challenging with him as soon as he can. But Rocco, he can't find a way past Neo here. He was right up behind him, but he was just unable to get through, make the move on Neo, who's dropped a million miles off Verstappen, coming at a rate of knots on Alpha. I just think he's lost a bit of time to the leaders, has Verstappen.
He has indeed. Rocco's going side by side there with Neo running down in towards turn 1. Neo hangs on to the position into 6th. Rocco 7th. Montana in 8th. Husky Chocolate, of course, in front of Neo. Rocco in 7th. I'll trademark back to my co-commentator. Rocco in 7th position. Neo in 6th. Connor staying out, though. Out in front. Neo under pressure from Rocco. Montana just dropping off slightly. And because these guys are running a bit of a DRS trade, it could allow the likes of M Short, just ASAS, Campbell to get onto the back of this train sooner rather than later as well. Lando is now really under pressure. He's got 32% of ERS. If I was in his position, I'd be trying to back Jaja and Alphatrix up, because the man that is going to really help, I think, Lando is actually behind him in 5th position. Verstappen is on a set of medium compound tyres. He's catching. If he holds these guys up enough, Verstappen will eventually get onto the back, try and overtake these guys, and then Verstappen will be the guy to rely on if Lando wants to win this.
Yeah, of course, Verstappen's also, his tyres aren't going to be in good nick come the end of the Grand Prix running. He'll be on these tyres a lot longer than the drivers were at the beginning of the stint. It seems like Rocco got so much speed onto the back of Neo, past Husky Chocolate. Does Rocky Road Rocco go coming into the hairpin? He's managed to get up into 6th position there. I was thinking of Chocolate and I just thought I had to pull that one in. That is a nice little treat for you there.
Well, filling in with that Rocky Road, it is Hardy. Well, Rocky Road is quite hard sometimes, but name changes through. Oh, that could have been pulled off if he tried to get that move done. Terrible from Hardy. He could have now tried and pull off the move. I'm going to try and switch it in, but I think name changer's got the legs on the run down towards turn 1, and Hardy is not going to be close enough. But yeah, Rocky Road is quite hard, isn't it? If it's been in the fridge too long, which I've had and nearly chipped my teeth on before. But there we are. Enough about me. Connor leads. Lando 2nd. Jaja 3rd. Alphatrix in 4th. Verstappen in 5th. Rocco in 6th position. Neo in 7th. Montana in 8th position. And Rocky Road Rocco, currently in 6th position, has got Neo Husky Chocolate behind him. But Montana is going to try and melt his way through the field.
Yeah, we can't use many chocolate puns with Montana, unfortunately, but he is just sitting behind in 8th position.
He's from Switzerland. He's Swiss. Exactly. That's enough of chocolate there.
Oh, we love a little bit of fun here on a Saturday night. Just bringing a little bit of normality back into your lives, but at the front, Zhao Zhao is not able to close up towards Lando, who's trying to break the slipstream as much as he can. I'm wondering if Connor here is trying to prolong his hard stint to go on a set of softs at the end, because he's really staying out for a long time. As I say that, he comes into the pit lane. I expect mediums because well, I wouldn't expect softs to go about 11 laps here. They'll be melting like chocolate on a hot day.
I thought you lagged there slightly, but there we are. Kublai is through on Sweet Crown up into 14th position. He goes. I wonder actually where Connor is going to come out in all of this, because Kublai at the final corner. This is going to be quite close, I think, between these two coming out the pit lane. Kublai is ahead. There's Connor coming out the pit lane, so actually Connor rejoins in relatively clear air. He's behind Sweet Crown, but he's on a fresh set of medium compounded tyres, and now he is going to think about going to the end of the race on those tyres. Zhao Zhao, in the meantime, on the back of Lando, 4/10 of a second, separating 7/10 of a second, separating the lead of the race for the top three. Lando currently leading, Zhao Zhao in second, Alphatrix in third. I'll tell you what I'm really surprised in, though, tonight. There's been no penalties so far tonight, which I'm absolutely... I'm gobsmacked that everyone's managed to keep it clean.
Yeah, well, I guess there are a couple places where you can get penalties around this circuit, but I think this might be a Division 1 first if no driver gets a penalty in this race. And I will make I will appeal to the admins. Whoever gets a penalty will get banned just for breaking the beautiful spree, and you can count on me to do that. As you can see, Lando losing time to Zhao Zhao seemingly is turning it up a gear, and he might be onto the back of the Brit come turn 1.
Here comes Montana on the back of Neo as well. Rocco looks like a sitting duck. Montana dives it down the inside line. Neo's on the outside line, and Montana, has he pulled off this move? No, he quite hasn't. Toxic and Just Ace are side by side. Just in the meantime, in the background of shot, now Toxic is through. Down the inside line, he gets the move done on Just Ace. That was crucial for his chances, for his points over, for his points finish later on in the race. And now Just Ace repays the favour, gets through on Toxic. Now to the outside line. Down on the inside line now. He's through. Just Ace the Lithuanian through on the Brit, and he's up into 8th position. And Montana tried to get onto the back of Neo in 6th position. Not quite, but I tell you what, Verstappen is already on the back of this front three, and you would imagine that Verstappen is going to have the quicker tyres until about this point on, I would think, and then the Haas will begin to get away from him.
Yeah, around about 5 laps into the race, we did see the hard tyres coming into their own against the mediums. I'd say they're probably on about equal footing at the moment, but we'll see if Verstappen can really take the fight through these guys. He's been pushing quite heavily, but he could maybe try and make a move on Alphatrix, because he's already 2/10 on the back of the pole man, of course, who unfortunately has lost a number of positions in this race. Still a decent performance from him to just maintain it in the points. We'll see maybe if he can try and attempt to get past Alphatrix, but no, just not on the straightaway. He's not able to, of course, with the DRS being so effective in a train. It's pretty much impossible to make moves stick.
Zhao Zhao run on the back of Lando, nearly runs into the back of him. A little bit of a Constantino in behind as well, I'm short. Going side by side now with Toxic, the slithering snake, down in towards us. M Short dives it down the inside line. So does Campbell. Campbell tries to stick his ear in as well. But I'll tell you what, Toxic, like the partner of the Red Sea, tries to go around the outside line. He's just about got the car ahead. M Short on the inside line, gets the move done. Brilliant racing between them both. And now Campbell could pick them up on both. Campbell's now side by side with Toxic. Gets one. Is he going to get two? Could he switch it to the inside line? He's going to think about it all the way around the outside. M Short hangs off the camber, and now Toxic down the inside line makes contact with Campbell. These two old terrier-like in Formula 2 LOE, and Campbell has managed to get through on Toxic. I think Toxic gave him the benefit of the doubt there. He closed him off right at the pass. Campbell just weaving there, saying thank you very much, I think, and Campbell is slewing up into 10th position. Toxic got a little bit leery, but I tell you what, really good racing between the three of them.
Yeah, well, that was a heart in mouth moment. I was pretty much sure that Toxic would get a bit of wing damage off the side pod of Campbell, but luckily it's not the case, and he does remain with a fully intact front wing. You can see Verstappen getting right up to the back of Alphatrix, but he's just not close enough to make a send. He has to do it on a part where DRS is not in effect. I'm looking at the ERS situation of all the top drivers. You know, Verstappen's in the worst position at the moment, but yeah, as well, he's not been able to save up as much DRS as he would have wanted. Zhao Zhao 3/10 back from him. He has to go for a send somewhere on the circuit, hasn't he?
Honestly, I think Zhao Zhao was playing this down to an absolute T. He is doing what I would normally do in these situations, just sitting behind, consume that ERS, consume it so much that you can have a go at Lando. He is just sitting behind, honestly, I think, at this point and laughing at his opposition both in front and behind, because he's got slightly older tyres than Alphatrix and Verstappen, but he's got slightly younger tyres than Lando ahead of him. And Zhao Zhao at this stage, because of the DRS that the top four are getting, they're 7 seconds clear of the rest. Rocco in 5th position, Lando doing everything he can to try and fend off Zhao Zhao, but at this moment in time, I don't have to fault Zhao Zhao at all, because he is playing this down to tactical precision, and he's going to make his move, I think, within the final 2 laps.
Yeah, of course, well, being the car in front puts you at the disadvantage, and if he wanted to turn up another gear, he can certainly do so, because he has been close enough where he could have tried to make a move on Lando if he'd used up a bit of his overtake, but he hasn't made that, and he's just been sitting behind, sitting nice and pretty in 2nd position, and just trying to really hone his form at the moment, and trying to attack Lando when he can, who's a bit all over the road, trying to defend. You can see how Bill weaving most likely to the inside line. Yet there he is, to the inside line, just to break the slipstream ever but he's not close enough to make a move this time by. Don't expect him to make a move until about lap 27, as James said.
Jusaitas is through on Montana, running down the straight. They're still side by side. In fact, as we come on board the Lithuanian on the inside line, Montana tries to hang around the outside line, but it's only going to go one way, and Jusaitas is through, and he's into 7th position. Montana really losing pitch in this race. Of course, it is a pad-heavy track, as my cameras just mess up there slightly. I might have clicked R1 slightly too much, but M Short right on the back now of Montana. Lap 22 out of 28. M Short tries to duck to the inside line, and now the championship leader right on the back of the defending champion. How we've wanted to see this battle this season, but they're embedded within a DRS train that spans from Rocco all the way back to Toxic, and it could even bring in the likes of Kumbly, Sweet Crown, Name Changer, E1 and Hardy towards the end of this race as well. So it could actually be a case of top 4 find out for the win, and then best of the rest.
Yeah, it's probably the fattest Haas sandwich we will ever see, but Montana really at a disadvantage with the tyre situation, because he started on the medium, and he had that initial burst of pace, but now that has caught back up with him, and these medium tyres, I'd say, would actually be quite a bit, well, not quite a bit quicker, but they certainly would be quicker than 11 lap old hards. That will change most likely in the next coming laps, but Montana gonna struggle in comparison through the corners to M Short and Campbell behind him, and D Daniel. Connor, only 3 laps on these tyres. He will be fresh as a daisy come the end of the race compared to his medium rivals. He'll actually be onto the back of D Daniel here, who thought you could have made a move in a DRS train, because he's going to the inside line up towards the hairpin.
Oh,
D Daniel outbraking himself. He goes into the rear of Campbell, and that is wing damage for D Daniel, and that could be disastrous for his championship performance. He'll be into the pit lane to fit a new front wing, probably a set of softs, and set the fastest lap of the race, but that is heartbreak for D Daniel in that one.
And he's second in the championship into tonight as well. And D Daniel just overshot it simply. We're on board with Connor. Connor broke slightly early, got his braking point spot on. D Daniel didn't realise his braking point, and then he broke slightly later than Connor, went into the back, and right tail end plate damage. Sadly, he's on Tresella soft compounded tyres. Name Changer, by the way, is the man that might be getting banned. But then again, we say that from the man who's 21st position in F1 PC, Lando leading the way. Zhao Zhao in 2nd, Alphatrix in 3rd, Verstappen in 4th, Rocco in 5th. And yes, we do see how it is now in the commentary box. Lando leading, Zhao Zhao 2nd, Alphatrix in 3rd. And folks saying, how's the warning situation before the top, between the top 4?
Oh, but look there, so Lando's got 2 warnings, oh dear. Zhao Zhao without a warning, Alphatrix without a warning, and Verstappen without a warning. One of those could have been contact he's actually got 3 warnings, so one of those must have been con warning, so he's probably on 2 warnings at the moment, is Lando. So
I thought Zhao Zhao was going to go into the back of Lando there, but Lando's still hanging on to the lead of this race. I should have more trust in these drivers by this point in the season, but I really don't. Lando leading the way, Zhao Zhao in 2nd, Alphatrix on the back in 3rd, and Alphatrix running all over the back of Zhao Zhao, coming across the line to start lap 24. 5 laps to go here in China. Good to see. Alphatrix so quick going into the corner, didn't realise that Zhao Zhao was going to cut across in front of him, and nearly a little bit of contact there, but Lando is doing his absolute utmost. Dylan, by the way, or Nolan I should say, in the comment section saying, come on Nathan, that is of course his real name. Lando in the lead of this race. 0.5 of a second. Zhao Zhao in second, and then Alpha Trix in third. We saw Connor get the move done, I believe, on Campbell further down the field up into 10th position. He's on a slightly fresher set of that medium compeller tyres and will be looking to try and get the way through this field later on in this race. But Lando leading the way, Zhao Zhao second, Alpha Trix in third. Still top four, separated by 1.4 seconds, and still I would have imagined Verstappen to got at least past one of them, maybe even past two of them, but he hasn't got past anyone, and he's just stuck in a pure DRS train.
Yeah, those tyres are past their best at this point, and he realistically can't make it through the corner to pressurise them, so he's just hanging in behind them, trying to save up some of his ERS, which he's really been able to do. As Lando's actually managed to break away from Zhao Zhao a little bit here down the straightaway, giving him a little bit of time to breathe, possibly coming into the braking zone though. Around for the 24th time, we're getting into the dying laps.
Youngblood, Youngblood against Youngblood, sorry to cut in, Dan, but here comes Connor down in the inside of M. Shaw. Montana weaving away, and now M. Shaw tries to go around the outside line. Montana, like the point on the Red Sea on the inside, they get caught in each other slightly, but I think Connor's got the move done, and he has. Youngblood against Youngblood, and Connor is through, and he's up into 9th position. M. Shaw just got hounded out of that Toxic, has picked up a 3-second time, but he's looking for his first points of the season. Now Campbell is on the back of M. Shaw, Neil right on the back of Rocco. I have a feeling this is all going to kick off within the final 4 laps as that Campbell looks to the inside line. Connor is lagging his way through the corner just in front. Campbell on the outside line now coming through turn 3. M. Short on the inside line, and M. Short just says, you know what, you're not coming through, mate. Campbell is now going to have to try it the hard way, and he's going to have to go around the outside coming in towards turn 6. Can he get the move done? He's late on the brakes. Can the Renault get around the outside of McLaren? One word answer, no. Toxic could though on Campbell as he nearly makes a mistake.
That was a scary moment for Toxic there. I thought he was going right into the wall where Hardy lost it in qualifying. So, yeah, he was trying to get him on the switchback, I think, but he wasn't able to do so. All this being caused by Connor pretty much overcutting everyone and having much fresher tyres, being able to make these moves, getting better traction out of the corners and having higher top speed overall. He could be onto the back of Montana, who is, of course, a reigning champion. Connor is not had the best championship so far by his standards. I do believe he is lagging all over the place, because I don't think every other car is going to be jittering. So coming down the straightaway, it doesn't seem like he is close enough to make this move, but I could be proven wrong. That doesn't seem like it. He wasn't able to make a move coming into this corner, but you know what? He's holding out a little bit of hope. Beginning lap 26, I think Zhao Zhao has decided, you know what, screw this, I'm going to try for a move, because he's now 1/10 back from Lando. He'll be pushing him heavily come the final 3 laps, actually. My mistake.
He doesn't want to make his move too early though. If he wants to make his move, I think make the move on the final lap of the race, coming down the DRS straight, as long as you're within DRS range. But then again, Lando is absolutely defending for his life out on track. It's been a fantastic performance from Lando so far. 3 laps to go, and Lando does lead from Zhao Zhao second, Alpha Trix in third, Verstappen in fourth. They've only pulled 10 seconds, by the way, over the rest of the field. Rocco, Neo, and just Asas is down on the inside line, gets the move done on Neo to be right on board. The Lithuanian is through on the back of the German. He's now in front of the German, and just Asas makes that stick down the inside into turn 6, and now he's through into 6th.
A lot of sixes out here. Probably the devil could be spawning very, very soon near you, James. But just Asas having a pretty strong day, I've got to say. And in comparison to where he's in standings, he's in 7th in standings. And tell you what, this will be a good haul of points for just Asas come the end of it. And yeah, he's in a pretty strong position. Zhao Zhao onto the back of Lando here. He's going to try for the move coming into the hairpin.
No.
He wanted to go for the move. He's letting him know he's there. I thought he might have gone for it, but he has just hung back. Didn't want to make any reckless dive. Beginning lap 27, he's letting Lando know, you know what? The happiness is over for you. Here come the dog days.
Yep, Connor through on Montana. He's through and he's into 8th position and is making his way eye-catchingly through the field. He will not get the win though out on track unless something really big time kicks off out on track. Whoa. 2 laps to go in China as that is Zhao Zhao making a mistake, and Alpha Trix tries to get around the outside of him. In the meantime, just Asas is through on Rocco into 5th position. It's now beginning to kick off. Lando has got a second. That might be it.
Oh my goodness me. Zhao Zhao making a huge mistake, and it's cost Zhao Zhao a lot here, and actually Verstappen now trying to make a move on Alpha Trix. He's going to try and send it around the outside. No, he's not through here, but Well, that might have been a saving grace, a lifeline for Lando. Zhao Zhao making a mistake, pretty much having to open up the steering to the left, coming through the right-handed turn number 1. He's now lost DRS to Lando Eddy, just dropped back into the 9/10 that he does need, but this is not going to be enough for him to close up and try and make a move. Granted, he has got another lap, but it is putting him in a bit of a position where he has to rush to get this move soon.
He has to rush to get the move soon. He's now got 28% of ERS, and now is not going to hang around. He's got the overtake mode on, and now he needs to close up. Zhao Zhao needs to find something out on track. He needs to find something special to try and win this. But I think the DRS straight down on the final lap of the race could be his best chance. He's now right on the back of Lando. Get yourself prepared. Strap yourself into your bed or to your chair or whatever you're tied to at the minute. Lando leading the way. Zhao Zhao in second, and now Zhao Zhao's opportunity is now coming. Connor is through on Neil down into the braking zone. Neil responds back. He is through and he's up into 7th position once again. But we're focusing on the lead of the race. Lando is hanging on for grim life out in front. Zhao Zhao second, Alphatrix in third, Verstappen in fourth. It could be the way that this race could end. But Zhao Zhao now has got to put in the best 5.4 kilometres of his life around China.
I don't believe that that this is going to be how the race ends, with a move on the final lap of the Grand Prix. We could see it coming out from Zhao Zhao. He's going to be pushing with all his might to try and take Lando out. He'll be coming at him like a freight train. And, well, I think he'll treat himself to a nice bar of chocolate if he's able to pull off this move. But coming in through the second sector, the final sector, he's made a mistake! He's made a huge mistake! That's going to be the win for Lando then, hasn't it?
It is. Lando is going to be gifted the win. Zhao Zhao, the pressure crumbles in front of him, and now he's ended up like a cookie crumble out on track. Lando leading the way. Zhao Zhao is hanging on now for second. Alphatrix is right on the back. Can he get him? Running down the straight. Lando need not weave down the straight. Keep your eyes on the road, man. Alphatrix to the outside line on Zhao Zhao, and Zhao Zhao's going to be caught second, surely. Alphatrix is on the outside line. Zhao Zhao breaks late. He's on the inside line. Can he try and get the move done? No, I think Alphatrix hangs on for second position for now. Lando into the final corner. His first win of the championship here in League of Europe. Lando across the line to win in China. Alphatrix nicks second, right at the death from Zhao Zhao. What a race. Verstappen in fourth as well. Just ATAS going out best of the rest in fifth. Really good race from everyone in behind. Connor and Neo could be side by side coming across the line. They fly across our camera shot. In the end, just ATAS 5th, Rocco 6th, Neil 7th, Connor in 8th, Montana 9th, M-Short 10th, Campbell in 11th, Kumblai in 12th, Toxic 13th, Sweetcram 14th, Ewan 15th, Namechanger 16th, Hardy in 17th, and D. Daniel going to come across the line to pick up that fastest lap, I do believe. So D. Daniel across the line, a disaster from him, crashes his way across the line to finish in 18th position. Only one DNF out the race is Kazizel. No safety cars, no VSCs. We have a race winner. It's Lando, driver of the day, in a weird looking pose there is Connor.
I didn't know that Connor was an Asian woman, but there you go, he's driver of the day. But I think Lando, he's going to be the most happy out of anyone today to pick up that first win here in China. Michael Schumacher, interestingly enough, standing atop the podium. Yeah, I'm not too sure how realistic that would be, especially in a Mercedes. We all know how that went for Schumi, but yeah, brilliant stuff from Lando today, and he'll be proud with that one.
Yeah, I think the Asian woman and Connor has came out there. He might be just supporting the fact that we're in China. There we are. Lando wins out on track from Alphatrix in second, Zhao Zhao in third. A really great ending to that race. Apart from, I have to feel so sorry for Zhao Zhao out on track. He did everything possible, but then just made a mistake out of turn 10, the most ridiculous corner to make a mistake at, and Zhao Zhao cost second in the end from Alphatrix. Verstappen in fourth, 1.7 seconds in the end, covering the top four. Jose in fifth, Rocco in sixth, Neo in seventh, Connor in eighth, Montana in ninth. M. Shaw, championship leader in 10th. He retains that championship lead with D. Daniel finishing behind him, and also the fact that Montana finished only a point ahead of him out on track. Campbell in 11th, Kumblai picks up the points. Toxic is going to have to wait at least another week to pick up any points. Sweetcram 14th, Ewan 15th, Namechanger Hardy, D. Daniel finishes. D. Daniel picks up the fastest lap point. Kazizel, the only one out of the race, and he crashed on lap 2.
Yeah, it was a surprisingly clean Grand Prix today, so good on them, especially since Monaco was a lot of damage for a lot of drivers in that one. So Yeah, they've kept it nice and clean. 2 drivers getting penalties. We won't see them back in League of Europe because I've assured that they will be banned. I'm gonna ask in the Discord if Lando wants an interview. Excuse if you can hear the clicky keyboard, but
you can probably hear it now in the background. But there we are. A really great race here in China. Stephen there commenting in the comment section. Really good race. Probably our cleanest race of the season, I would say, as well. No damage. Hardly any stewards reports, I would imagine, will come out of this, as opposed to the amount that came out of last week's race, of course. Lando will be hoping to rejoin us here in the commentary booth, and hopefully we'll get him in for his winner's interview. His winner, of course, being in China. The last time I commentated on a Lando win was Austria, TTML, in Division 1. Yes, I have mentioned that league once or twice on this channel, and I like to do the same to LOE on TTML. But Lando, really great drive from him, coming back to his best, and hopefully we'll get him in for an interview. And I'm sure he's more than happy and more than capable of coming in for an interview as well. Jojo has got to report the curb on the final lap of the race. I don't think the stewards will look into that. I don't think they can give the curb a 3-second time penalty, though. That's the worst thing about it. But there we are. That is just the nature of the game, I'm afraid. That's just the nature of the game, and things like that do happen. But in the meantime, our race winner, XL Lando, has just joined us. And Lando, you had to put up one of the most defensive drives I think I've seen ever in sim racing. Talk us through how it went.
Just in a bit of shock, really. Yeah, it was, I think, was it lap 12 that we pit? Or I can't remember, honestly, but I know it was more than half the race, but yeah, I was surprised, Joe. I think it was lap 26, actually, that Zhao backed out of the move, which I kind of understood, because I could tell he was trying to save up for like a last lap push. But yeah, I think he just messed up the second sector on the final lap, and that actually cost him P3 in the end. But yeah, just in a bit of shock, really. When I saw Verstappen coming up behind, and I obviously knew the pace of Alphatrix, I was kind of like, I could maybe get a podium, or even just settle for P4, but yeah, never expected a win.
Do you feel, coming on to that, do you feel the nature of the DRS trains around here helped your cause, or do you think there were a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for?
Nuisance?
Hindrance. Yeah, nuisance, hindrance. Was that a bit of a hindrance for you, or did you feel like you had it pretty much going into the final couple of laps?
What's that, sorry?
Did you feel that you had the advantage going into the final couple of laps? Obviously, with the DRS train in behind you, did you feel that worked to your advantage or worked to a disadvantage?
I think it worked into my advantage. Like, obviously Verstappen was really rapid on his mediums, so I was always expecting him to obviously get to the back of the train, but I didn't know if he was actually going to get through Alphatrix. And to be fair, I was actually surprised that Alphatrix didn't try and get past Zhao quicker, because I think if Alphatrix had got through, I think he would have easily had the pace over me. But yeah, I was always seeing that Zhao was really, he wasn't amazing through Sector 2, so the gap was always like 7 to 6 tenths as long as I had a good like snail section. But yeah, I think the DRS train definitely helped me.
Yeah, it was really good to see as well, and you become the 4th different winner out of the 6 races so far that we've had here in League of Europe Division 1. That must fill you up with a lot of confidence going forward in the season.
Yeah, it's always been a strong track, and going into it, I was actually really disappointed actually not to get pole. I messed up Sector 3 quite bad, but I was obviously happy to get P3 on the grid. But yeah, I was always confident going into it, but never kind of expected a win. But yeah, I hope it brings some confidence, but Australia and France, which is the 2 next tracks, are not really favourites of mine. But after that, from round 9 to 13, it's like really strong tracks I quite enjoy. So yeah, just gonna try and get through the next 2 races, hopefully picking up some points. But yeah, the the talent of drivers in D1 is ridiculous this season, especially.
Yeah, you never know how these races are going to unfold. I'm going to pass over to Dan as my voice is really going.
Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to say well done in this one. It was a brilliant performance, a great defence from you today. But for my question, I'm noticing in the standings you've more than doubled your amount of points with this win. So coming into the next, towards the end of the season, are you hoping to fight for more wins or at least podiums?
I think realistically, podiums is more likely than wins. Obviously, Montana and Marcos and Daniel kind of all had off days, but I think that was always just the nature of the track. I think it was always more pad more than wheel friendly. So yeah, they all kind of had off days, but they'll definitely be back up in the top, probably in the top 3. Potentially every race from now, depending on tracks. But yeah, hopefully some more podiums, but just realistically, just looking for points every race to the end of the season.
That's really good to see. Just coming off that point that you want to get more podiums, for the rest of the calendar, if there was one track where you really are confident that you can get podiums in, which circuit would it be?
Looking at it, it's probably going to be Bahrain and Brazil. I think the rest of them, I've got a decent pace, but I don't think it's, your Montanas or your M Shorts. But yeah, Bahrain and Brazil is 2 tracks like today that I'll definitely be looking at to hopefully get, I think, minimum top 5. I think I'll try and push for, but yeah, a podium or even a win from out of nowhere will be really good.
Yeah, well, brilliant stuff. I'm hoping for the best for you for the rest of the season, man.
Thank you.
Oh, and I think that's it from me as well. So go and enjoy your evening.
Cheers, you too.
Oh, I think we need both a rest after that, Dan, honestly. But there we are. That is the end then for League of Europe Division 1 here tonight. Round 6 of the Championship done. Round 7 of the Championship, of course, next week. And for the track, give me a second because I want to get this right. I'm just loading it up now on my screen. And I've clicked on news by accident. Calendar, we go to Melbourne. It's Australia next week. And it's a track where it's going to be quite similar to China, I think, where there's going to be a lack of overtaking in terms of a DRS train, but also it's going to be really, really competitive.
Yeah, one thing that a lot of drivers do tend to know about Australia is that it's got really good flow, but for racing it's not the strongest, and well, you'd expect a lot of these guys to know it because it is the first track that you are greeted with. A lot of drivers, this was their first track that they've ever driven on, so I think a lot of them would be trying pretty hard to win a race in Australia.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating. Of course, Division 2 and Division 5 is going to be coming up very shortly for you. Within the next 10 minutes or so, Daniel Huggard and Aidan Carter taking you through the action for Division 2 and then Division 5. I believe it is Alt Maverick taking you through the action for that as well. But that is it from myself and Dan. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world that we all live in. For myself and Dan, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.